This thumbnail definitely gives me vibes. So now I have no indication of who this guy is. Crispy. I did love that.
It's been 4 months since
I did love this thumbnail. I thought this thumbnail was gorgeous, and that's why I wanted to jump into this video. I think that's just a really brilliant thumbnail. He's got some great thumbnail art, and I'm a big fan of good thumbnail art. I've been working my ass off trying to make my thumbnails up to a quality like this, and I think that's why I'm so interested in his thing. But the thing with time travel that always drives me nuts is it's like I have to shut my mind off to not find issues with the time travel, to find holes in it, because no matter what you do with whatever time travel material, you're going to find fucking little plotty waddy holes that make absolutely no sense, and it's there's always going to be paradoxes and shit. That's the problem with time travel, and you have to willingly suspend your disbelief for time travel almost more than anything.
Time travel. Every time I get recommended a time travel movie, it always gives me a bad taste in my mouth. Steins Gate, Summertime Rendering, and Back to the Future.
I've only seen Back to the Future out of those three. I don't know if Steins Gate or Summertime Rendering are any good. Let me know in chat if they are, or the comments when this comes out as a video. Just definitely let me know, because I'm actually really interested. I watch a lot of this type of shit when I'm like playing games on my phone. Like I use cloud gaming a lot, so what I'll do is I'll play a game while I'm watching anime or TV shows or movies.
Really the only stories I was able to enjoy, but either way, it was always hard to just keep up with the different timelines and the way the situations are changed. So I was actually shocked at how addicted I got to Psychopaths, a horror mystery series made in 2022 by Honda.
I hate the paradoxes. Like, brother, just think of an answer. I don't know if you meant that to be as fucking hilarious as you did, but that's pretty funny. I am interested. I like the look of this already. Like, I mean, I could tell what those are, but I like the griminess of this. So I'm actually really interested to see this.
I got to Psychopaths, a horror mystery series made in 2022 by Honda Shingo. It's about a detective.
I wonder if this has an anime out on it.
Who time travels back to the past to prevent horrific crimes that happen. The catch is that the detective goes back in time in somebody else's body. For such a normal concept, I did not expect the amount of messed up stuff in this manga. It's becoming one of my favorite series to read, so shout out to the people that actually suggested it to me in the comments. So today, we're going to dive into the first...
This looks like a saw trap right there. This looks gnarly. I'm actually really interested in this. Not just because there's nice tits on screen. That has nothing to do with it. It's the fact that there's like... I like a gritty nature. I used to like the Saw movies. I like the Saw movies not because they're good, but because they're fun to watch. And I like the imagination behind the traps. And some of the backstory I found on the actual Saw character to be kind of interesting.
2 arcs of the series and break down just how wild and shocking this series can get. And trust me, this series can get really... Bro's decked out like a cow. Look at all these udders to milk from. Really weird.
But if you guys want to see more anime content like this one, then why not go down and hit that subscribe.
We'll see how this video is. We'll have to... You like Saw, Psychopath, you know? maybe I'm a psychopath. I didn't like the Hostel movies very much. I thought they were okay. I felt like Hostel was Saw without the fun of there being a reason behind it. Saw did get a little ridiculous where they were just fucking straight up murking people for smoking.
Subscribe button. If you guys want a part 2 to the series, then let's go ahead and reach 2K likes on this video. But without further ado, let's get on with it.
Yeah, go ahead and give this shit a like. I'm already liking the vibes of it. I'm going to hit it with a like right now. Oh, he already hit the 2K. Congratulations, buddy.
The story kicks off with Godai Itsu, a hot-headed 26-year-old detective, taking down a Yakuza operation, only to get chewed out for using excessive force. He's tough, but cares deeply...
Speaking of excessive force, I was playing Marvel Rivals recently. That game fucking slaps, and Punisher's the best character in that game. I don't give a fuck who you are. I just think that needs to be said.
For his 17-year-old sister, who he's been raising on his own.
Not only does Saw make me feel extremely sick, it runs on shock value. It's extremely fucked up. No, I agree. It runs on shock value. But I feel like the shock value is necessary to the story it's trying to tell. It's different than, and Saw's not greatly written by any means, but I think that it's done in a way that it pushes the story forward, and none of the movies feel boring, at least. Actually, I take that back. There was one. I think it was Saw 6. I don't know. They have like an insurance guy going through the things, and it gets a little ridiculous and a little boring. I wasn't a fan of that one. But most of them, it has a point, and when you're going into a Saw movie, you kind of understand what you're getting at. And body horror in general is just something I've always enjoyed. I think that it pushes the realm of the medium in a really good way, and I think that you then get some overlaps. Like I did a video on it, but I did a Boy Kills World, and I didn't really go into how the movie kind of has like a body horror element, but the kills in that are gnarly and very realistically gnarly compared to something like a normal action movie. Like when he hits somebody with a cheese grater, Sachi's knocking him out, he's fully pulling skin off of their face.
The very next day, Itetsu is transferred from the first section to the fifth, which raises a red flag since there are only supposed to be 3 sections. When he arrives,
Bro finds out that there's more giggity schmoodle sections than he ever knew. He's finding out that there's secrets, and there's a secret government organization. I love this.
he's greeted by a man dressed as Leatherface. Instinctively, Itetsu grabs him by the
Yeah, dude, fuck him up, dude. He's hella creepy looking.
collar.
Anybody find this ugly, just punch him. They got burn scars, punch them. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Do not judge somebody on their appearance.
But it turns out that this masked man is Hiraka Shion, the chief of the 5th section and a psychic investigator. Oh, and if that's not wild enough, he's also the son of the chief of the Metropolitan Police. Shion explains that he created the 5th section to deal with paranormal murder cases. He tests Itsu's knowledge of famous serial killers, showing him a list of notorious criminals like Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy. In America, these killers are practically pop culture icons.
Dude, I love when people use a bunch of fucking examples like this. It's like when somebody's trying to sell you something, they're like, "Have you seen the success of people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone?" And they name drop a bunch of people, and they're like, "Well, this will make you like them," without ever actually giving you any valid examples. They just like fucking name drop a bunch of people. I don't know if that's what this manga did, but I love when shit does that. It's like, okay, and then they go into more names, and names like John Wayne Gacy, Tom Cruise. These are people that you should try to be like.
With trading cards and all.
Don't try to be like fucking John Wayne Gacy. That is a joke.
But in Japan, criminals are despised. So Shion made his own set of Japanese serial killer cards, packed with every
Based. He just decided to make like fucking trading card game called Who's the Better Killer.
twisted detail of their crimes. Itetsu, who has a deep-seated hatred for criminals, rips one of the cards in disgust, declaring that all of these monsters deserve to burn in hell. This intense drive is exactly why Shion picked him. He then hits Itetsu with a life-altering offer. What if he could bring back the lives of the killers as victims? Would he risk everything to go back in time and prevent these horrific murders before they even happen? Well, Shion
Bro, I like this. I already like this. This is a cool idea.
has the power to send people back to the past. If Itetsu can successfully stop the crimes, the entire outcome will be rewritten, including possibly preventing the execution of these killers, giving society a chance to understand why they committed such.
Dude, the understanding is literally they were narcissists. It's the same thing with people who are mass shooters. They're all about trying to get attention and doing the most fucked up thing imaginable because they feel like their life sucks, so they want to make everybody else's life suck too. It's all about a position of power, and that's what all these people are. And that's why we haven't seen serial killers as predominant as they were back in that time period that they were like really popular, is because what started getting the media's attention, it wasn't serial killers anymore, it was mass shooters. So now we have an epidemic of those. I'm betting money. Now, I'm no psychologist, but if I were to look at these degenerates and then like if I will like put them next to each other, I bet there would be some correlation between the two.
Heinous acts. One of these killers could even be the one responsible for murdering Itetsu's own family. Fueled by the chance of revenge and redemption, he's all in. Shion loves his enthusiasm, but if he fails, there's no coming back. Shion shapes his hand to a gun and points it to Itetsu's forehead. Bang. Itetsu finds himself waking up, chained up in a dark room, in the body of a teenage girl.
Whoa, dude. Oh, dude, what? Oh, so he's sending him back to the consciousness of an actual victim. That's fucking amazing, dude. That's so good. Oh, that's so good, dude. Oh, dude, I'm sold, dude. This is sick. You're in the mind of a victim. Oh, I love this. I'm in love with this.
Itetsu wakes up in the body of Haruka, one of the victims of a notorious serial killer. Haruka and another girl, Junko, have been trapped in the killer's basement for a month. And Itetsu
Bro, I want to see. I hope this has an anime, bro. I hope this has an anime because I will watch the shit out of this.
knows from the case files that Junko is going to die soon. Suddenly, the killer, Izaki Yoshinobu, walks in wearing a grotesque outfit made.
Bro, that is such sick art, bro. That is fucking amazing art. I am so down with this. I'm down with whatever this is trying to do. I'm in love with this so far. This is fucking gnarly, bro. I hope that he giggity schmoodles this guy's ass, dude. I'm so excited for this.
From the breast of his 6 previous victims. He checks if Junko is lactating, but...
Bro, he checked if she was lactating. No, dude, no. Oh, dude, this is so sick. It's like you ever see fucking, oh god damn it, it's based off of Ed Gein. It's Silence of the Lambs, dude. Have you ever seen Silence of the Lambs where he's making a bodysuit? This is like that, but only using the tits. This is wild. This is what it's all about. This is awesome. I'm in love. This I need to see this.
When she isn't, he brutally cuts off her breast and knocks Itetsu out after he tries to fight back.
God, this is gnarly. I hope they made an anime of this. I will watch the shit out of it.
When Itetsu wakes up, Junko's severed head is lying next to him. Izaki leaves him alive, having high expectations for him. He drugs Itetsu and forces him to drink milk, keeping him weak and under control. Later, Izaki brings in another victim and repeats the horrific cycle. Itetsu realizes he has one advantage: his knowledge of the case. He knows that Izaki, a former prep school teacher, used his charm to lure...
I might have to go because this shit makes me sick. I thought you were a horror guy, bro. This is gross. I'm not saying it's not. I just find it but so are these serial killers. So you're going to their world and you're going to stop them in their world. That's the point of it. It's like, yeah, it's sick, but it's about stopping them.
Young women into his car before imprisoning them in his basement. The only survivor, Nishino Nanami, escaped after a metal fixture in the basement broke by coincidence. But Itetsu doesn't have that.
I'm not a body horror guy. No, that makes sense. I mean, but the elements of, so beyond the body horror, there's also elements here of just like a really good psychological horror. Yeah, no, I get it.
Time, since Haraku dies in just
after this, I'm gonna play some games, but this is interesting. This goes into the mind of a killer and the mind of the victims, and which I think is very powerful. That's what I'm about here. I mean, yes, the body horror is something I truly enjoy, but I also the thing that makes me the most excited about this is not the body horror. At first, it really excited me, but the thing that actually drives me into intrigue on this, and what's kind of making me overlook the grotesquity of it, is the intrigue about being in the mind of a victim. And trying the survival instinct that it takes for these victims. Because every time you hear about a story of somebody surviving, and those are the real heroes. I mean, one of the reasons Ted Bundy got caught is because a chick broke out of his car during a kidnapping, and she was one of the witnesses against him. And that to me is like the amount of strength it takes to get out of that situation and then be able to look your killer in the eyes and send him to jail is just so powerful to me. About sending real evil to the place that they belong.
1 week. Itetsu remembers a key detail from the case and confides in Nanami, revealing that he's from the future and that he needs her help. The next day, an earthquake hits, just as Itetsu had predicted. The ceiling cracks under the metal fixture, but before they can act, Izaki returns. He warns Itetsu that if he doesn't start lactating in 3 days, he'll kill him too. 2 days later, Itetsu and Nanami break the metal joint and start their escape. Itetsu knows Izaki won't be home since it's exam season, and his routine is very predictable.
And the crazy thing about serial killers, the thing that makes serial killers so scary is a lot of them work in elements where they can get their victims. And I don't know, I love the idea behind this. I think this is such a genius idea.
Twice daily feedings on work days, and then
Agreed. That's why I've always been for serial killers and stuff, I've always been very in like mass murders. I think the death penalty is very important. I don't want to be paying for them and thing. That might be a controversial take, but I think real monsters should just be taken out of the ecosystem.
Times on his day off. As they make their way through the house, they notice a light in one of the rooms. Thinking that it may be a way out, Nanami bursts in, only to find a dead body.
Oh, dude, see this dead body thing isn't really body horror. This is something you'd see out of like some of the like 70s horror movies. I really like that twist. That is really good. I love when horror movies do that, where it's like you think it's one thing, but you know it's not. You know in the back of your head that that's a monster, and I love that type of stuff.
In their panic, Izaki appears behind them. Meanwhile, back in the present, Haruka has swapped places with Itetsu, and Shion takes care of her, asking if she remembers anything that could explain Izaki's behavior. She recalls
This fucking guy's a psychopath. The guy who's like trying to figure out the mind of a serial killer. That's so gross.
memory of Izaki defending a boy who was being mocked for being a mama's boy, which seemed innocent at the time but now feels pretty significant. In the past, Izaki reveals he's suspicious of Itetsu, sensing something off about Haruka's eyes. To test him, he sets up a trap by skipping the noon feeding. Just then, a TV in the background flickers to life, showing footage of Izaki as an adult being breastfed by his mother.
Oh, dude, gross, gross. See, that type of shit grosses me out. That's gross. But yeah,
He
dude.
tries to grab Itetsu, but he slips out and uses a move that he taught his sister for self-defense, knocking Izaki to the ground.
Good.
Barricade the door and try to
Fucking beat his ass. Beat his ass, bro. Survive. Survival is so key. This is so good.
police, but the lines are jammed due to the earthquake. Nanami decides to go for a different route, though.
The second you try to take somebody else's life or attempt to, you should lose your own. I mean, attempted is I'm not sure if I would go as far as the death penalty should be for attempted murder. But maybe. I mean, depending on if it was like super premeditated. But like, what the problem with that is, okay, somebody gets in a fight, two guys get in a fight. One of them gets knocked out and they're drunk and he hit him with a bottle. Well, that could be construed as attempted murder. So if they had like plans for weeks in advance to kill somebody and then they didn't end up killing somebody, that's completely different. So I think intention has a lot to do with that. So that would be my argument for that. That would be kind of my devil advocacy against anybody who attempts to take somebody's life, because what could be construed, like when you're both drinking and you get in a fight and all of a sudden one almost dies, were you intentionally trying to kill that person, or was it just a fight that got out of hand? So those are questions that I think build into the nuance.
Izaki breaks through the barricade but sees no one inside, just an open window. Itetsu and Nanami make a run for it, but Itetsu's injured leg slows them down. They spot a flashlight in the distance, and it turns out to be Nanami's boyfriend, who she contacted using a pager code.
Let's go! Pager saving the day! That's completely different than what we have today, where pagers are being used as weapons. So that's good.
But as they approach him, Izaki stabs him in the side. Izaki swings at Nanami, but Itetsu tackles her out of the way, still holding on to his one weapon, his knowledge of Izaki's past. He begins taunting him, bringing up the trauma.
Oh, let's go! Using the psychology against the killer. That's so genius.
His mother's a suicide, and the affair his father had with another woman. The reason he goes after high school girls is because the woman his father was having an affair with was a student of his, which caused his mother to be overprotective over Izaki, even when he was still in high school, protecting him from other girls.
Oh god, dude, this actually draws correlation to a real serial killer. Not Ed Gein. Well, Ed Gein has a lot of mommy issues happen in the serial killer world. But the one I'm thinking of is the co-ed killer. His whole mom hated men, so she literally browbeat him and told him how scummy men were and how horrible they were his entire life, which made him go after the women, because she was like worked at a college, and she talked about how he was never good enough to be with all these brilliant college girls, so that they were better than him, so he would kill them to show her, which is so messed up. But it's kind of that same correlation right here, which I like that they utilize that.
When Izaki became a teacher like his father, his mother offed herself.
Oh
Then
god.
He's had a hatred towards high school girls, and
The problem with the deeper psychological thought on this is the fact that he never got to get back at his mom for being like evil like this. Instead, he took it out on others.
mother, and he's currently being haunted by his mother every day, seeing her everywhere. Izaki snaps, enraged by his words, charges at him, but Itetsu fights back, wrestling him into a headlock. Izaki overpowers him, nearly strangling him, when the police finally arrive to arrest Izaki.
So now there's 2 survivors. Look, he did it. There's 2 survivors.
Itetsu successfully saves Haruka, and Nanami thanks him for everything. In a
This is why you have to be nice to your kids. Exactly. This is why you have to raise them in a very, like, not overprotective environment, but give them the freedom to do their things, make their own mistakes, and then, like, kind of when they do make mistakes, help them learn from those mistakes, but not try to browbeat them or force them into an ideology, because what you're going to do is make them into a monster.
weird twist, Horaku's father, the chief of the prefecture police, shows up to retrieve his daughter. Itetsu is confused though. He never knew one of the victims was connected to such a high-ranking officer. Back in the present, Shion celebrates Itetsu's return and shows him an article detailing Izaki's life sentence. Not only did Itetsu save Haraka, but also prevented Izaki's execution, giving society a chance to understand.
Wait, why? Prevented it? What? Jesus.
His warped psyche. However, Itetsu is frustrated that he couldn't save Junko, questioning why Shion's powers can't do more. Shion explains that his ability only allows him to send him into bodies of victims, never the killers, due to their immense murderous intent. He also doesn't control which victim he ends up in. It's all random. But with Itetsu's knowledge and Shino's powers, they can keep...
This is so good. There's a corny quote, but it's still good. Monsters aren't born, they're made. Exactly. And I'm like, that's what I think is so brilliant about this. This is going into the psyche of all of that. That's what's interesting about this, not the body horror elements. Like that's body horror can either be used as something to gross you out or used to build on top of the narrative, right? And that's what this was used to show, the brutality of these monsters, because like everybody knows that serial killers are creepy and gross and whatever, but a lot of times they're not dressed like that. They're not this body horror monsters. They don't look like fucking Leatherface. A lot of times they just look like your normal dudes. And what's crazy about this is it's using the grotesquity of body horror to help you visualize how gross and sick these people are. That's what's genius about this. It has nothing to do with the actual body horror itself. It's about the psyche of the monsters, and that's what's so interesting about this.
lives. Maybe even one day, Itetsu's family.
Yeah. But there is an argument for the psyche beforehand and how they were psychopaths before. But there are people who have like are sociopaths or psychopaths and never kill. So there is an element of people that it's about. I think how your nurture has a big involvement on whether you act on those psychopathic tendencies. If you're raised in a good environment where you don't feel the need to act on them, I think that a lot of people who have these psychopathic tendencies will not act on them.
The arc ends with a chilling scene where Shion meets with Haruka's father, who is shocked to hear that someone his daughter mentioned 30 years ago turned out to be real. With a sinister smile, Shion gets down to business with him.
I know this is an ad, but this game fucking actually claps cheeks. This is better than Overwatch. I am in love. So this sick fuck right here, I think he's going to be a serial killer by the end of the manga.
But before we get to the next part, I just want to say that we now have a Discord server. So if you guys want to talk about your favorite series, get recommendations, and just connect with some like-minded fans of mine,
yeah, if you want to go to his Discord server, you can definitely do that. I'm going to skip this. It's probably in his description, so if that's something you're really interested in, go do it. And if anything weird or bad is happening on that Discord server and you are on there, make sure to let it be known. I mean, I don't know anything about this guy, so I don't want to like have you go on there and then it'd be like really, really dangerous. So anytime you're on a Discord server that ends up being like fucking volatile or there's stuff that you know that is not right, make sure to always make that known. I mean, there's a reason with my Discord server that there's not a lot of people on it. It is in my thing, but there will be no NSFW content in there ever. I do not want you going to my Discord server and trying to hook up with people. It is just a place that where my community can go. But do not, if you ever see weird shit in a Discord server, make sure it's known. Do not be afraid to say what's going on.
The card game continues, and Itetsu's next target.
I think it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. The psychopaths are such a poor, are only portrayed as killers and in such in media. Yeah, dude. That's what I'm in love about this. You were saying the thing about the body horror making you sick, and I think that's the perfect representation of the first serial killer in this. Is that he's so fucking sick, that he's so disturbing that it makes you uncomfortable, makes you sick to your stomach, makes you feel fucking gross, and how over the top his killing method is with the lactation and stuff. I think it's a great portrayal of showing that these guys are fucking sickos. Not all of them are fucking Ted Bundy, where they're attractive guys and they also killed people, and then you get these simps out there who are like, oh, Ted Bundy's so fucking hot. Like, a lot of these guys are absolute fucking sickos, and I think that was a good representation using body horror. And body horror can be a very thin line where it's sometimes like movies like Hostel, where body horror is just there for shock value, and I feel like the movie itself didn't have much value other than just being grotesque. I feel like this told the story a lot better.
It is Maju Shizuka, a nurse who poisoned at least 4 confirmed patients by tampering.
Oh, see, now we're gonna get an. I think it's just you. The lag on my side. I have an excellent. I'm excellently streaming to YouTube according to OBS, so I think that it's just you.
Natural deaths. So the real number could easily excel 50. Shino taps Itetsu's forehead and bang. Suddenly, Itetsu wakes up in the body of a child named Hino Shota. As he trembles out of the bed, he locks eyes with Maijo, who snaps at him to stop messing around and storms out. Itetsu quickly realizes that he's in a hospital surrounded by patients and future victims. He needs to act fast, but as a kid, he knows calling out Maju directly just won't work. He'll need some proof. He knows his mother visits and brings him a soccer ball signed by all of his teammates with messages of just encouragement.
That's super sad. When they started going after kids too, this is something they honestly, it's something that really fucking disturbs me when they go after children. Going after children is so cringe to me. Like, yeah, you shouldn't go after anybody. You shouldn't try to kill anyone. But the fact that kids are put in the crosshairs so much with a lot of these killers because of they're weak and nobody believes them is so fucked up.
Another patient, an old woman named Akai Haru, gives Hino a juice box. Haru was the final victim in the Maju case, and it was her clutching Maju's pocket watch that played a key role in Maju's eventual arrest. Itetsu must keep up the appearance of being a child so he doesn't arouse suspicion like he did last time. As he's walking down the hall, he sees a kid playing Pokemon Heart Gold on a DS. He borrows the DS, helping the kid defeat a tough enemy in the game, which brings back memories of him playing with his little brothers. This gives him an idea. He could use the DS's camera to gather evidence. He overhears a doctor berating Maju over a patient's death, accusing her of screwing up the dosage again.
Bro, if there's something in like the medical community, if you notice somebody's constantly screwing up things, like report it. Like, honestly, whenever you notice how stuff like this, the biggest problem is it goes unreported for so long, and it should be reported.
Like she did 1 year ago. She denies it though, but the doctor isn't convinced. The hospital director intervenes, pulling Majo aside, telling her that he'll cover for her, just like he did before. From atop of a nearby shelf, Itetsu listens intensely. In the present timeline, Hino Shota is ecstatic, enjoying his new role as the young police officer, and relieved that he won't need surgery. But Shino wants to give him a taste of fear. Back in the hospital, Maju is about to inject a patient with a lethal dose, but Itetsu catches her in the act and quickly snaps a picture on the DS.
Oh, this kid's going savage. If I ever have one, says something like there is a murder under my bed, I will treat it with complete and utter seriously. I mean, I won't probably be like, oh yeah, I'll probably. So I will probably treat it kind of like as not a little joking about, oh, is it there? Oh, dude, don't worry. Dad scared it away. That's probably how I will handle it because I don't want to put more fear into the child. That's my perspective on it. I will probably act like I'll be like, no, you know, I see him right there. Oh, I ran him off. They won't be back ever again. Your dad's too big and scary. Something like that, dude. I don't think you should lead into it too bad because a lot of it is the fear of the dark and fear of the unknown. And to build into it too much is going to give them a phobia or have them be scared of something forever. But I mean, everybody's different in that regard, so.
After she leaves, Itetsu rushes to stop the IV from harming the patient. As he exits the room, Maju confronts him, suspicious of his behavior. He panics and runs, but he knows his body isn't fit for such stress. and his heart condition starts acting up. Maju finds
Oh no, dude, this poor kid. Heart conditions are the worst. I'm so scared. Like, there's nothing that scares you more as a parent than knowing that your kid could end up with a condition that ends up in the hospital. And anybody who out there who has a kid in the hospital and is working or like dealing with this, my prayers go out to you. I mean, I'm not the most religious person, but I still want the best for you and your family.
struggling to breathe in his bed, sweating profusely. She takes the DS, claiming that it's bad for his health, and then leaves. The next morning, 4 more patients die in the same
Jesus Christ, bro! If people are dying like this, bro, it's not just a slight mix-up, dog.
way. The director covers it up as an illness, just like the other victim.
You have a story? Is it a good story? Cause I'm interested.
Time is running out. Hino's surgery is in 2 days, and Hitetsu needs the DS back to expose Maju. However, with the help from the girl in the next bed, she sneaks into Maju's office to retrieve it. As they're about to leave, they hear a noise and find the girl knocked unconscious. Someone runs down the hallway and Hitetsu chases after them, only to find Haru laying on the floor.
Oh yeah, my dad once ate sand at Blackpool Sands, and he had to go to the hospital. Oh, dude, was he okay? Was he fine? I mean, obviously, if you're telling this in past tense, he's probably fine. But that's crazy. Why did he eat the sand?
She was heading to the bathroom and finds the pocket watch on the ground. Before Hitetsu leaves, he stares down at the hallway, sensing something odd. The next day, Maju confronts Hitetsu for stealing the DS, and she storms out of the room. That's when Hitetsu had a breakthrough.
Oh, he was a baby? He was a baby when that happened? That makes more sense, dude. That's sketchy, though. Like, that's so scary that you could be chilling. You could be chilling, and all of a sudden, yeah, your kid could eat something they're not supposed to and almost die. That's so fucking chilling. That scares me so bad.
As the killer prepares to strike again, Hitetsu reveals the truth. Akeharu is the real culprit.
Oh!
Footsteps gave her away, and her excuse about going to
Oh, it was never the nurse to begin with, dude. The nurse wasn't it to begin with.
the bathroom didn't make any sense, considering the location of the restroom. Haru confesses, but her motive isn't malicious. She believes that she's saving the patients from their suffering,
Oh my god, it was the old lady the whole time. Dude, that's such a good twist.
giving them salvation, and then putting all of the blame on Maju for mishandling their care. Hitetsu had been recording the entire conversation on the DS, and as he runs to find a nurse, Haru catches up, violently throwing him against the walls of the hospital.
Oh, this is good, dude. See, this one has nothing to do with body horror. This is just changing your expectations of what's gonna happen, dude. This is actually a good twist. Then after a few days, his parents insisted insisted they took him to the hospital locally. Well, I'm glad that they took him to the hospital. I'm glad he's okay. Obviously, he made it because he had he nutted up your mother.
Tries to fight back, but Hino's
And then you were here to watch my chat, so that's fucking good. And the very night, his parents took him back to the doctor and went crazy and killed several children. Oh, now you're doing like a horror thing in the comments. That's cool. I mean, I like and then went crazy and killed several children. Jesus.
his heart condition flares up again, just as Haru is about to inject him.
Sometimes, like Chomp, sometimes I'll be taking your stuff seriously, and then I'll read you go into like a horror background, and it's just like insane where you take shots sometimes.
With a lethal dose, Maju walks in. Haru takes Hitetsu hostage.
Oh, it's a real story? Your grandparents went and killed a bunch of people at a hospital? Or back for the doctor and went crazy and killed several children? So your grandparents murdered people is what I'm getting from this chat?
Demanding Maju inject herself or she'll kill him. Maju complies, but before she can go through with it, Hino's soccer ball flies through the air, striking Haru in the head. The little girl...
It's the little girl! Shout out little girl! She saved the day! Let's go, dude! She is the ultimate giggity schmoodle of this story. She's giggity schmoodling at a level nobody could understand. She was better, she was bigger, she was the soccer queen!
The hospital room had thrown it, and she wasn't alone. She had also brought a security guard. With their help, Hitetsu takes down Haru, and she asks him who he really is. And he replies that he's from the future. However, she seems glad that there's someone else with the same sort of power. But before she can say any more, she swallows a cyanide pill and dies on the spot.
Oh, shit.
Hitetsu gives Majin the DS and switches back to Hino. Hino's confused and scared until he sees Itetsu's note on the soccer ball, to live strong. Back in the present, Itetsu finds a mysterious envelope on Shino's desk from Haruka's father. As he walks down the hall, he sees Shino entering a secret room filled with material from the cases they've traveled.
Bro, he's a killer. We all know. My grandparents are chill as fuck, thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to assume that your grandparents were serial killers. My bad. I just thought that was where it was going.
Traveled back to. Itetsu confronts Shino, demanding to know what he's been hiding. Shino deflects it, saying it was only a matter of time before he showed him the room. He also claims that he's been talking with Haruka's father about Haruka.
Bro, he's sending people back, like some edgy fucking people, to create these murders and make them worse.
And what she's doing now that the future has changed. When Itetsu presses him about Haru's comments that someone else has their powers, Shino brushes this off, telling him not to worry, that is just the grandmother's imagination. As he walks away with that sinister grin on his face.
Bro, this guy's the bad guy. This guy's the bad guy. He's definitely causing these, and he's using him as a ploy.
Itetsu crossing the street when a man presses a gun to his back. The man has one simple command: stop digging into the alternate present. He tells him to cross the street and not to look back. When Itetsu finally does cross the street, he turns around.
And the guy's gone. Obviously.
Gone. Psychopaths takes the award of the best way to use time travel in a horror manga. This series is a great...
I've met people...
I'm so interested in this, and I hope it's an anime. I hope it has an anime. I have no idea. But this was awesome. I'm honestly, like, really in love with this whole concept. I love all of what it's doing. I don't know how long it's been running, but I really, really want an anime of this. I think it would be really interesting to watch. I think there's not enough horror anime out there that's good, and I think this would be a good one to break that mold.
Travel in a horror manga. This series is a great anthology mystery series where every little detail from every case affects the future timeline.
I hate that he said little detail and then he shows up a bitch like half naked.
It's very, very important. Every detail from a bunch of different cases.
I don't hate AI generation. I hate how it's being used right now as kind of a thing, but I think that it has potential to be used as a great tool. I think AI in the future will be used as a great tool, but it is kind of annoying to see everywhere.
Manages to sometimes show up for the main plot, affecting the whole way that the other cases are handled. The only thing I don't like about it is that it doesn't highly impact the future, or at least that we kind of know of. I would like to see the bigger impacts of this world.
So there was that anime about like the guy changing the future. What was it called? Tokyo Revengers. And I remember Tokyo Revengers. The problem when you see the future is it's like the dude knows how to fix the past. He knows that if he keeps on track, he can just fix things. But he keeps going to the present to see how fucked up he keeps fucking everything up. And that got really annoying. That's why I stopped watching Tokyo Revengers. There's fucking AI generation advertising for Coca-Cola. Exactly, dude. It's going to be a bigger thing. Right now, the reason why we're seeing so much AI being flooded in is because it's the new, fun, weird thing. But eventually it will be toned down to an actual... it will be toned down to actually just be used as a tool, I think, and it won't be as obnoxious. But right now it's just like, oh, look at this new fancy shiny thing, and that's why AI is everywhere.
These are massive serial killers in Japan, so I feel like regulations and big world events will also be affected as well. That's really the only complaint I have, because I feel like we're going to be seeing bigger impacts of these scenarios in the future. I love the art. The
art is really good. I was going to say that. My sister got a fucking AI generated image birthday card for her 10th birthday. That's wild, dude. That's wild.
I love the gore. I love the messed up imagery.
Who's like, oh, I'm going to send an AI generated image birthday card. Like, it's just like, that's not even a... Just hire an artist, bro. It's not that fucking hard. Why is everyone using AI? Well, AI is simple, dude. AI makes things so that you, even though you don't have the artistic abilities, can do it yourself. I mean, there is a lot of potential in AI, and I think the way that everybody's zealotized AI being so evil is it's honestly a fear of the future. It's like when somebody's like, oh, you can't, when the power drill probably came out, there's probably people that, why would you use a power drill when we have these nice hand tools? So, Dude, but like AI imagery is going to be there. It's not going away. It's going to be here forever. And the more you hate it, the more it's just gonna make you mad. And it's something. It's there in the future. That's not going away. The door's already been opened. So by trying to close the door, all you're doing is fighting against an inevitability, and that sucks. And I'm sure you don't want to hear that. A lot of YouTubers and a lot of internet people, or people on the internet, do not want to hear that AI is going to be here forever, but it is. It's not going anywhere. So the best thing is to look at how it's affecting, or like how it's being used, and say like, is this a good application? Are you using it because you're actually talented and you want to bolster yourself? Like, I was watching a guy who's developing a game, right? There's this guy I watch on YouTube who's developing a game on Easy FPS Maker, and he's using it as a bookmark for his main character's picture, and for the voices, he's using well, like without consent. I mean, all art is influenced by other art. AI's just using it to a bigger degree. But there's a game creator out there who's using it as to bookmark something while he develops the rest of the game, and he can flesh out his story points and hear how it sound and what he wants the actors to go for when he actually does hire actors. I think it's a great tool for bookmarking and helping you streamline things that maybe you're not sure of. I think that it could be an incredibly useful tool. I do hate how everybody just stigmatizes it as this ultimate evil. It's like you're finding AI means I'm too lazy to hire artists. I need more people to know this. I mean, it doesn't mean that you're too lazy. Sometimes you can't find the right artist for the job, so you use it as a bookmarking tool, like I said. And it can be something until you find that good artist. Now, I do think that if somebody's just using AI for everything, is it actually their art anymore? No, not really. But at the same time, there's a lot of people out there whose art, they're mad about it, and they're like, oh, well, I should be hired on, and it's like your art wasn't that good to begin with, and that sucks to hear, but... and that's what I think. I think it needs to be. If it's utilized as a tool, and I don't think a small amount of AI in anything is a bad thing. I mean, the AI technology. Like, I had this idea that like one day we will be able to play a game where the people you're interacting with in the game have a bit of artificial intelligence into them, where they're learning and adapting to the world. And to think about that possibilities is such an interesting world that we could live in. And I think the future is limitless in that regard. Also, the fact that developers who don't have the money to hire people, or don't have the resources to make their dream project a reality, now have the ability to do that, and then only to get attacked by the internet because they can't afford hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars to be able to do it is kind of a fucked up position. I mean, you might be incredible when it comes to game design and game layout and story writing, but you don't have the acting chops or the artistic chops to really make everything perfectly to your image, and you don't have the money to make that happen. So you use AI to fill in the gaps, and then people are going to stigmatize you from it because you don't have the money to do it. I think that it can be used to actually bolster the indie community, to finally have them be able to fight against the AAA community that has the money to do this, especially in gaming. I see it as being an important thing, and I think that's something that people overlook a lot in the fight against AI. Yeah, like AAA can use it, and they'll be like, oh, we'll use it here, but like they're going to get the same effect as somebody who is using it on the low end. It's a tool that we all have now, that no matter what position you're in, you have the ability to use it. So I think that by stigmatizing it to such an extent, I think we should stigmatize the AAA industry for using it, but I don't think indie games should suffer because of it. And there's an idea that if you use AI at all, you're a monster, and I think that it should be like, wow, these companies over here have all this money, and they're being lazy and not paying people. That's a correct thing. They're not paying their artists. Here it is, right? And wow, look at that. They're not paying people. They're refusing to pay people. That's a good argument. But then you look at then you take that same argument and apply it to people who can afford that thing. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's a valid argument. I think that you're trying to. I think that only bolsters the AAA development community. I saw a solo dev recently where the guy voiced all the characters and facial animations and were not very good, but the story and environment was really good. Exactly. So what he could do is he could use the inflection and stuff he wants, and then I add an AI filter over it to make his character sound different and very good. And he could if let's say the character's like, "There's been a murder in here. We have found the evil we need to find," but he can't do that voice, so he's like, "There's the evil in here. We need to find the killer who did this," or something like that. But he has the inflection and he has the pacing he wants, but his voice isn't good for it. He can add an AI filter to give him exactly what he wants, and he could then put out a product that has a story and has a good thing. But a lot of developers are afraid to do that because of the backlash on AI, and I think that's not fair. I don't know. That was my little AI rant.
Love the cases, and I love the approach to the cases. For example, the first case was more of a mystery of how Itetsu can escape in a body that's weaker than his, and the second case is more of a how can I get evidence that this killer did it, with a twist of who's actually the killer. I'm guessing every other case will be different too. Maybe a case of like a cyberbully serial killer or something like that. So while there's the mystery of the cases, there's also something going on in the main story with Shino
and we're really early on in this, from what it seems, so I feel like there's going to be more to this. I feel like there is going to be more and more depth between how this builds later in the thing. I think they're just kind of piecing it out at a time, and that's the best way to do it. If you AI ChatGPT ruin the whole AI thing, it's generally intelligence and not artificial intelligence. And here's the thing, you can't, AI only bolsters what you already have. So if your shit is garbage to begin with and you use AI, let's say you put what you want in, you just text to speech in it, there is not going to be any emotion or anything. That's going to be the problem. That's going to be an issue, and people are going to see that there's no authentication. But on this, I think that the more that this builds up, then the more you got to drip feed this stuff in. You can't just fully have everybody show their cards in a story like this. Otherwise, when you get a bunch of chapters in, you're not there, you don't care anymore. The sheen's already been pulled, nothing matters. And that's a huge problem. That a lot of series make that mistake where they overload everything at the beginning because they're so excited about it, and then by the time you get later on, you just don't care anymore. And so keeping the mystery and keeping that stuff alive is really important, and I think that's what this is doing.
The fifth section. I can't really guess what his plan is. We know that he's trying to examine the psychology of the serial killers, but I don't know why. And I also don't know why he's talking to people close to the case in the future. Maybe to see what's changed, but I honestly think that he's just trying to recruit. I think he has plans to build up the fifth section in secret, and then have Haruka and Hino join him. I think the man who held the gun behind Itetsu is Hino Shota, working for Shino to keep Itetsu in his place. To me, this makes a lot of sense. Also, I think that Shino is lying about that picking the victims at random. I think he's specifically picking those victims so he can use later in the future.
I like all this speculation. This is 100% on point what I was thinking, so I like the way he's going with this.
You can really drag out this series for a couple of 100 chapters, to be honest. It is going to be hard to correlate all of these factors together, but I think if the recruiting theory is the real plan, then it's not too far-fetched. Overall, I really do love this series. I love the concept and the mystery. It's all just dragging me back in. I'm addicted to this series. I want way more chapters out. And if you guys love it too, then let's go ahead and reach the 2K likes, guys. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, so this was really good. I really am interested in this anime. That was honestly something really interesting. I like where it was taking it. I like the nuances and the intrigue in here. I like the twists that it have. I think it was a fun journey that we went on. Yeah, that's all I have on that one. That was pretty cool.